My brothers and sisters, have you ever wondered why your life suddenly fell apart at the exact moment you were trying your best? Why the people you trusted changed without warning? Why doors you depended on suddenly closed? And why Allah allowed your heart to break even though He knows the pain it causes you? We often think hardship means Allah is displeased with us. But what if the breaking you are experiencing is actually a sign that Allah is preparing you for something far greater? Sometimes Allah shakes your life not to punish you, but to wake you. Sometimes He breaks your heart so completely that the only place left for you to turn is back to Him, because that is where your true healing begins. What you call a setback may actually be the start of your transformation. Today, I want to share with you a truth that can change your life. Allah breaks the man He wants to use, not to destroy him, but to rebuild him with strength, wisdom, and humility. 1. Allah breaks you to remove your pride and replace it with humility. My brothers and sisters, pride is not always loud. It does not always look like arrogance or showing off. Sometimes pride hides quietly inside the heart. It appears when you begin to believe that your success came only from your effort, that your achievements were purely because of your intelligence, your planning, your hard work, your connections. You begin to rely on people instead of relying on Allah. You start thinking that as long as you have certain people around you, as long as you have certain abilities, you will always be fine. And slowly, without realizing it, your heart begins to move away from the one who actually gave you everything in the first place. But Allah loves you too much to allow you to stay in that dangerous position. Pride is a poison, and if Allah wants to use you for something meaningful, He must cleanse your heart from it. So He allows something to happen that shakes your sense of control. He takes away a job you depended on. He lets a relationship fail. He allows a plan you were certain about to collapse, not because He wants to hurt you, but because He wants to remove the pride that was quietly growing inside your heart. When life suddenly humbles you, when you realize that no matter how strong or smart you thought you were, things can still slip from your hands, that moment becomes one of the greatest gifts from Allah, because it pushes you back into sujood with sincerity. It makes you cry in a way you have not cried for years. It makes you call upon Allah not out of routine, but out of genuine need. And when a servant returns to Allah with humility, Allah brings them closer than ever. Humility is not weakness. Humility is spiritual strength. When you become humble, your heart becomes soft, your mind becomes clear, and your soul becomes safe from arrogance. Pride makes you blind to your mistakes, but humility opens your eyes. Pride distances you from Allah, but humility pulls you toward Him. Pride makes you trust yourself, but humility makes you trust Allah. And Allah knows that a heart filled with pride cannot carry the weight of His blessings. A heart filled with humility can. So when Allah breaks you, it is not a punishment, it is a purification. He is preparing you for something bigger, something better, something beyond your imagination. And before He elevates you, He first removes the arrogance that would have destroyed you. Without humility, you cannot rise. But with humility, Allah Himself lifts you. 2. Allah breaks you to disconnect you from what was holding you back. My brothers and sisters, sometimes the thing that is harming you the most is the thing you are most attached. It could be a person you trust, a relationship you hold on to, a group of friends you feel comfortable with, or a lifestyle you have become used to. On the outside, everything may look normal, but Allah knows what you do not know. Allah sees what your heart does not want to admit. Some attachments look harmless, but they quietly drain your faith, weaken your discipline, distract your heart, and pull you away from who you are meant to become. And because Allah loves you and wants to elevate you, He cannot let you remain tied to something that would eventually destroy you. Many times you pray for growth, success, peace, and a better life, but you don't realize that certain people and habits cannot travel with you to the next stage of your journey. They are part of your story, but they are not part of your future. So Allah in His wisdom removes them. And yes, sometimes the removal is painful. Sometimes you feel abandoned. Sometimes you ask, why did this person leave? Why did this friendship break? Why did this situation fall apart? What you think is loss is actually Allah pulling you away from a path that would have damaged your heart, your faith, or your future. You may not understand it in the moment, because the heart becomes deeply attached to what feels familiar. Even if something is harmful, the comfort of routine can make it difficult to let go. So Allah creates a situation where letting go becomes the only option. He causes the bond to break, the relationship to change, the environment to push you out, not to hurt you, but to free you. Because if He did not break that attachment, you would stay stuck in a place where you could never grow, never evolve, never rise. Think about a child who holds onto a toy with all his strength, but the parent removes it to replace it with something better. The child cries, not knowing that what is coming is far more valuable. Similarly, you may cry over what Allah takes from you, not realizing that what He is preparing for you is far greater than what you are grieving over. Allah does not take anything from a believer unless He intends to give something better. And sometimes the only way to move you toward that better future is to disconnect you from the people, habits, or environments that were holding you back. My brothers and sisters, some losses are actually divine rescue missions. Some heartbreaks are actually protection in disguise. Some endings are actually the greatest beginnings of your life. Allah removes what is not meant for you so you can grow into who you are meant to be. He breaks your attachment to dunya so He can attach your heart to Him. He breaks your dependence on people so He can teach you to depend on Him alone. And He breaks your comfort zone so you can walk into the destiny He has written for you. What you think is rejection is actually redirection. What you think is loss is actually liberation. And what you think is the end is actually Allah gently pushing you towards something greater. 3. Allah breaks you to empty your hands for something better. My brothers and sisters, one of the deepest truths of life is that you cannot receive what is meant for you while your hands are still full of what is not. Many times we hold tightly to people, to dreams, to plans, to comforts, and to attachments that feel familiar. Even if those things no longer serve us, we cling to them out of fear of change, fear of uncertainty, fear of starting again. But Allah, in His infinite knowledge, sees the road ahead. He knows what blessings belong in your future and which ones cannot accompany you there. So when He wants to elevate you, He begins by emptying your hands. This emptying often feels painful because we interpret loss as a setback. We think, why did this happen to me? Why did Allah take away something I loved? Why is everything slipping out of my control? But my brothers and sisters, sometimes Allah removes what you want because it will block what you truly need. Sometimes Allah lets something fall apart because keeping it together would hold you back from His greater plan. And sometimes Allah takes something away not because He wants to make your life harder, but because He wants to give you space for a blessing that is far beyond what you imagined. If your hands are full of the wrong things, there is no room for the right ones. If your heart is attached to the temporary, you cannot receive the permanent. If your life is tied to what is lower, you cannot rise to what is higher. Allah knows this even when you don't. So He frees your hands by breaking your attachment. He frees your heart by removing what you were clinging to. He frees your soul by pulling you away from what was weighing you down. Think of a gardener trimming a tree. From the tree's perspective, the cutting feels like damage, it feels like loss. But from the gardener's perspective, the trimming is essential for new, healthy growth. Without removing what is unnecessary, the tree cannot flourish. Similarly, Allah cuts away from your life what would block your growth. And though you may cry over the branches that fall, He is already preparing the fruits that will replace them. My brothers and sisters, there are blessings waiting for you that you cannot imagine. There are doors that will open for you that you never expected. There are people, opportunities, and moments of joy written for you that you have not yet seen. But you cannot hold them while holding on to what Allah is trying to remove. You must trust Allah's process of emptying, because emptiness is often the first step toward abundance. When your hands are finally empty, you will realize something powerful. You did not lose anything that was meant to stay. Everything Allah removed was preparing you for what He intends to give you. Every closed door is leading you to a better one. Every loss is creating room for a greater gain. And every heartbreak is carving the space that a healing blessing will one day fill. Allah does not take from a believer except to replace it with something better, perhaps in this life. or perhaps in the next, where the reward is far greater and eternal. Trust that the one who is emptying your hands is the same, one who will fill them with what is written for you at the perfect time. 4. Allah breaks you to build strength you never knew you had. My brothers and sisters, every one of us thinks we know our limits. We say, I can't take more than this. I can't survive this pain. I can't handle this pressure. But Allah knows you far better than you know yourself. He knows the strength hidden inside you that even you have not discovered. He knows the resilience buried beneath your fears. He knows the courage that will only appear when life pushes you to your knees. So sometimes Allah allows challenges to come your way, not to weaken you, but to reveal the strength He placed within you long before you were born. Think about how steel is made. It is placed in intense heat, hammered repeatedly, and shaped under extreme pressure. Nothing about the process feels gentle, yet the result is something strong, valuable, and unbreakable. In the same way, believers are shaped. The tests that break you on the surface are the same tests that build you from within. You begin to develop patience you never had, maturity you never expected, wisdom you never imagined. Hardship becomes the fire that purifies your heart and removes the impurities that were weakening your soul. There are nights when you cry to Allah thinking you are falling apart, not realizing that those tears are strengthening you in ways you cannot see. In your weakest moments, when you stand up to pray, even though your heart is heavy, Allah writes strength into your soul. When you keep going despite being tired, Allah writes resilience into your character. When you maintain faith even when everything seems dark, Allah writes light into your heart. The pain you feel is not destroying you, it is building layers of strength, layer by layer, deep within you. Sometimes Allah breaks you because He wants to prepare you for responsibilities you are not yet strong enough to carry. He wants to elevate you, but the place He is taking you to requires a stronger version of you. Without this test, without this hardship, without this breaking, you would not be ready. You would not be able to handle the blessings that are coming. You would not be able to guide others, support others, lead others, or inspire others. Strength is not developed in ease, it is developed in struggle. My brothers and sisters, look back at your life for a moment. Think of the challenges that once terrified you. Think of the days you thought you would never survive. Yet here you are today, stronger than before, wiser than before, more patient than before. Allah carried you through every moment you thought would break you, and He will continue to carry you because He is Ar-Rahman, the most merciful, and He never burdens a soul beyond what it can bear. What you call too much is what Allah calls your training. The truth is, we do not grow when life is easy. We grow when life forces us to rise. We grow when we lose something we thought we needed. We grow when our hearts break and we have to rebuild ourselves with Allah's help. We grow when the world pushes us down and Allah teaches us how to stand back up. Every hardship is a lesson, every pain is a teacher, and every difficulty is a sign that Allah is preparing you for something greater. So do not look at your struggles as punishments, look at them as investments. Allah is investing in you, Allah is strengthening you, Allah is shaping you into someone who can withstand storms that others cannot. You are being transformed into a believer who does not collapse under pressure, who does not fall apart in crisis, who does not lose faith when life becomes difficult. You are being shaped into a believer who can handle responsibility, who can guide others, who can inspire others, who can remain calm even when life becomes turbulent. Your breaking is not your end, it is your preparation. It is Allah saying to you, I know you can rise higher, so I am making you stronger. And one day you will look back at this hardship and say, if Allah did not put me through that, I would never have become who I am today. 5. Allah breaks you to bring you back to Him. My brothers and sisters, there are moments in life when we drift away from Allah without even realizing it. We get busy with our routines, our goals, our friendships, our ambitions, and slowly, quietly, our hearts begin to harden. We still pray, but our prayers lose feeling. We still say Alhamdulillah, but it becomes a habit, not a reflection. We still recite Quran, but our hearts are somewhere else. And because Allah loves you more than you can imagine, He will not allow your heart to drift too far. So at times Allah shakes your life not to destroy you, but to wake you up. When everything is comfortable, when life is easy, when things go exactly as you planned, you may forget how desperately you need Allah. But when hardship hits, when something breaks inside you, when a plan collapses, when a door unexpectedly shuts, suddenly your heart remembers. Suddenly you cry in a way you have not cried for years. Suddenly your du'as become sincere. Suddenly your sujood becomes longer, deeper, more meaningful. Suddenly you feel your heart returning to its Lord, and that return is one of the greatest blessings you will ever experience. Allah sometimes breaks the worldly attachments you relied on just so He can rebuild your spiritual connection with Him. If a person became your source of comfort more than Allah, He may remove that person. If a job or lifestyle made you forget your prayers, He may take it away. If your heart clung to dunya more than to the Creator, He may shake your world to remind you of who truly controls everything. These moments feel painful, but the pain serves a purpose. It pushes your heart back where it belongs, at the feet of your Creator. My brothers and sisters, do not underestimate the value of a sincere dua made during hardship. When you cry out, Ya Allah, help me, that call is beloved to Him. Allah says in the Quran, call upon me, I will respond to you. He did not say, call upon me only when you are perfect. He did not say, call upon me only when life is easy. He wants you to call upon Him, especially when your heart is broken, because a broken heart is the door through which Allah's mercy enters. Sometimes Allah allows you to feel the darkness of this world just long enough for you to crave His light. He allows you to feel the pain of loneliness just long enough for you to realize that no one can comfort you the way He can. He allows you to feel the disappointment of people just long enough for you to understand that He is the only one who never disappoints. In the moments of breaking, Allah is actually pulling you closer and closer to Himself. When you return to Allah with genuine humility, sincerity and tears, He replaces your pain with peace, your confusion with clarity, your fear with faith, and your sadness with tranquility. That feeling of relief you experience after dua, the calmness you feel after crying in sujood, that is Allah responding to your heart. That is Allah saying, I am here, I never left, I was waiting for you to return. My brothers and sisters, the breaking you are experiencing right now might be the reason you enter Jannah, because sometimes one sincere moment of turning back to Allah wipes away years of negligence. Sometimes one hardship purifies your heart in a way that ease never could. And sometimes one tear you shed for the sake of Allah is worth more than a lifetime of comfort. So when Allah breaks you, do not think He is punishing you. Think of it as Allah gently redirecting you, guiding you back to the path that leads to peace in this world and eternal happiness in the next. Your Lord misses you, and sometimes He breaks something in your life just to bring you back to Him where you always belonged. 6. Allah breaks you so you can guide others from experience. My brothers and sisters, one of the greatest honors Allah can give a believer is the ability to guide, comfort and uplift others. But guidance does not come from theory. It does not come from memorized words or borrowed wisdom. Real guidance comes from a heart that has lived through darkness and still found the light. It comes from a soul that has tasted pain and still turned to Allah. It comes from a person who has been broken, tested, humbled and purified and still says Alhamdulillah. When Allah wants to use you for something meaningful, He puts you through experiences that shape you in ways ease never could. If you have never felt heartbreak, how will you comfort someone who is hurting? If you have never been betrayed, how will you understand the pain of someone who trusted the wrong person? If you have never lost something precious, how will you teach someone the meaning of patience? If you have never fallen, how will you show others how to rise? Allah writes hardships into your story so that your voice carries weight. Your words come from a place of truth, not imitation. When you speak about faith, patience, gratitude, trust and reliance upon Allah, you speak from wounds that healed, from tears that fell, from struggles that shaped you. People listen not because you are perfect, but because you are real, and Allah uses the real, broken, humble believer far more than the person who has never been tested. My brothers and sisters, think of Yusuf alayhi salam. He was betrayed by his own brothers, thrown into a well, sold into slavery, wrongfully imprisoned and separated from his father for years. Why? because Allah was preparing him to become a leader whose wisdom would save an entire nation. His hardship was not random, it was training. His breaking was not misfortune, it was transformation. Through every difficulty, Allah was shaping him into someone capable of guiding, advising, and leading with compassion. Similarly, your trials are not meaningless. They are shaping your heart, deepening your empathy, and expanding your understanding. You begin to see people differently. You become gentler with the hurting, kinder to the struggling, more patient with the lost, and more forgiving with those who make mistakes. You begin to understand that everyone you meet is fighting a battle you cannot see. And that understanding, that softness, comes only from a heart that has been broken and healed by Allah. Think about the way people gravitate towards someone who has survived what they are going through. Someone who has overcome grief becomes a source of hope for those drowning in it. Someone who has healed from heartbreak becomes a reminder that hearts do mend. Someone who has rebuilt their life after loss becomes a living example of Allah's mercy and power. When Allah chooses you for